Hi guys, I just wanna make this clarity of not associate with these people, but I am not I'm not the kind of person that want to bring this article out, but unfortunate this happened 3 hours ago. Uh, I'm not saying the future of education could do better, but now is more of an issue. It's not just a global issue, it's basically a major issue. 14 years old was recently got into a lot of trouble, and I think past we have this issue in the US. Someone actually took up terrorism again. And despite the news outlet, everything that was given, there was a case incident in US a while back about Roblox. So now we are talking about Roblox again. And it's back to 2025 round 1. And it's not just my thinking, but someone must have been doing something, triggered something in the ecosystem of like the school boundary and everything. I'm not saying it's a fail safe or whatever. We have the freedom of speech, we have the freedom of thinking, we have the freedom of like what we wanted to do, but we had a problem. We have a very serious problem, and I am saying it may or may not be the cause of an issue. But I personally would advise if anyone have this situation, please seek help and get a dispatcher online. I am very worried about this situation that is blowing up. But nevertheless, I think we could backtrack a while back. Same record, same things happening, and I think not just a terror group, but I can open up another Google Chrome. Yep, this is the same incident that I was thinking of. Like, it's not just a coincidence, it could be an online form that maybe something went wrong. I'm not saying it's a coincidence at all. It's something. this was the article that came out. I think last year, June 20, and this was literally shown up. The moment I backtrack a world record about this situation, semi coincidence, I cannot imagine how backfired this is. And this is something called ridiculous. And this is directly to the court of US intelligence, and I'm looking over at the criminal file. This is the Docker roundup, and it literally sums up as FBIC is arrested a man, spray painted kill eyes on an office building or on Nebraska, that kind of situation used to be Homeland Security investigation of ICE. So this is all the file that was linked up to courthouse in US. And this is not just something that I was thrilled to say that US actually did something about it a while back. But on the same identity of an issue here, where I think we need to have a very serious talk. Parents, I don't know what you're doing, but please be more strict about this situation with your kids, and be watching them a little bit more. I think it's ridiculous. It's not just coincidence, it literally just sums up. There's no mention if the guy was banned or whatever, but Roblox is an issue. And it's not just a case file recreation, is directly the similar concept of terrorists, and I think parents need to do better job. It's not saying that I understand that parents have to work and so-called had to do their double jobs and things to jump up the hook to make sure everything goes perfect, but unfortunate, this issue is keep repeating, and it's not just an issue, it was literally the worst court case I ever seen. And this one, it seems to be this is literally similar case on what the kid is doing in SG, but personally this guy was holding up weapon for ISIS. That's why he was criminalized courthouse in the US. But what I did search up, what you guys can think about it is maybe build critical thinking, that's one. Teach kids the question information they see online, especially content that promote hate or violence. Encourage them to check multiple sources before believing or sharing. That's one of the coincidences that I think not just everybody have to do. Use age appropriate discussion about propaganda, fake news, and that thing is all reasonable. But here's another thing that I think a lot of people need to use is open communication. Create a safe space where children feel comfortable talking about what they see or hear online. Listen without judgment. Kids are more likely to share concerns if they don't fear punishment. That's one. And as gentle question like, what do you think about the message? Why do you think they said that? That's the two reasonable thing that you could do as a kid, or parenting skills. And thought that be more positive online. Healthy communication is one of the cases. Digital awareness like monitor online activities and balance ways, know which platform they use but avoid being overly intrusive. That's a lot of old people mindset is like, oh yeah, I'm going to play video game and a lot of video game is violent. I I I won't say no on that occasion, but violence in video game is not a solution for being ISIS. But as a resource, I think people can actually did better, and not just doing better is early intervention. That's the last step that I want to signalize is watch for warning sign, withdrawals from friends, family, sudden hostile towards certain group, obsession with violent content. If concern grown, seek professional help, school, counselor, specialize. I mean, those people that literally check your mental health, that's one. Or community organization trained by the counter redeclaration file. And top of the last topic is report extremist content or suspicious recruitment attempt to the platform or authority. Key principle for me to think about this is how crazy Roblox. I'm aware that Roblox is a kids game. I don't particularly go back to Roblox to check out things, but I think what the public need to do is self-awareness is one of an issue, and second, I think we need to be more firm about talking to children about this situation again and again. And it's not just saying that it's ridiculous, but when I did check, this was from the Straits Time, and this was literally happening again and again. Roblox was one of the excuses they given. So 2 was dealt under ISA. And it's not just ridiculous, this was mentioned in the game chat was terrorize terrorists, 13 given ISA order, and the group was under ISD that took the early intervention to shut down the ISIS group. Then another situation, I think it's not just crazy, but somewhere somehow somebody just decide to drain another kid to this little platform, and it's not just crazy, but this was given by the news outlet. And it's not just crazy, this is like straight up insane. This kid went overboard with what he saw online, and I think he was surfing the web in a dark web form. This is something that everybody had no way to bypass the firewall blockage unless someone actually given him an idea like how to gain access to the file that FBI is supposed to be blocked. But this was given to the news outlet. This kid was creating the whole brouhaha on Roblox, making it like the whole training center from ISIS video, and he was literally not just insane, I'm saying a psychopath. And he was planning a 10 years down the trip, saying that he want to travel to Israel he want to fight alongside with ISIS, Hamas, and all the Al Qaeda thing. I mean, people are giving out information like for free. I truly understand it's a logical answer that we are in the internet era, we have this freedom, we do not have the resource to shut down a situation, but Roblox need to be more monitoring, and I think it's bad, and this is just plain crazy. And he was targeting about attacking people, and he was counting on something like if someone start a terror attack, he will follow, that kind of situation. But here is the thing, if ISD can do early intervention about this, he could be safe. And it's not just crazy, but I think, like I said, it's insane. And I don't want to show some content that literally blew up people mindset, but if you check, I think, let's go back down memory lane. I'm trying to say this as an educator. Do not do this, and try not to do this kind of thing. This was literally back in 2017. This is one of the situation that we are facing right now is we are jumping back towards the backward of problematic world. And this is not just crazy, but resources are valid. And it's crazy. Armed group claim of fighter behind killing two people in UK capital on police probe continues. And it's not just crazy. It literally spread terror. And I'm not saying that the kids have to follow this kind of situation, but it is bad. Pure bad. And what the adult can do, they can do early intervention, that's one. And second is digital awareness. And maybe teach them on about safe online behavior, avoiding suspicious group, reporting harmful content, and recognizing grooming tactics. This kind of thing that I think a lot of people is less common sense. But let's say if you ever get a problem like this and 14 years old decide to do this kind of terror shit, and my god, this is crazy. Connect kids with role model and mentorship is another thing that you can try, is connect kids with mentor teachers or community leaders who can guide them positively. Highlight stories of resilience and peace building, and people with overcame activities without violence. So yeah, some of the key concept here are teaching people real life skill set. But I honestly want to say this: if you suspect someone doing crazy stunt like this, is not just crazy, but it's literally just insane. And back in 2015, Paris was attacked by ISIS again, but back then the case was very identical to. Actually, this is more than CNN news. This is ridiculously a lot. And Wikipedia also tell us where was it held at, and there's multiple location that was so-called ISIS terror cells, and this is not just crazy. A lot more of this, like over the years. And this was going through the outlet. UK France carried out joint strike on ISIS target near Syria, Palmyra. And this is all that ISIS left behind, and everything is ridiculous. And this is back in 2017 when the UK Ministry of Defence says its underground facility likely storing ISIS weapon used this target of the weapon attack by the error was devoid on any civilian ammunition. And this is not just crazy. As a streamer, I would advise the public, if you ever encounter any of this situation, like kids having this crazy idea, they even said immediate threat, please call 999, that's an emergency hotline, or second guess is SMS if it's a situation case. SG Secure mobile app SOS featured reported incident. And for non-emergency hotline, there is Internal Security Department ISD hotline for anyone that is already gone psycho in the head. I would suggest you call 1-800-2626-473 for ISD intervention. And it's not just insane amount of situation. Terror threat is not just uncommon. It really been happening over the years, and there was a rumor about a dark web portal where they taken the information of like a documented ISIS attack. It was a server group, and it literally rumored around the dark web about this situation. And I think few cases a while back, I did mention last year June 20 was the first case of Roblox terrorists. And the one that literally stopped this case was reported by a 16 years old kid. That kid was smart enough to call the 911 about this guy, and he was arrested the very few hours later. So the incident does escalate. We do have a eyewitness website, or 999, that's the emergency hotline, or the 1-800 you can call for ISD. But when you report, must be 100% accurate, and must be make sure that it's not criminalized and everything can be mistaken. I think it is more of a situation where someone or some way or somehow the kids have a connection key. to the dark web. And I'm not saying it's not like well hidden. I know FBI been cracked down about the whole incident about these ISIS terror cells going on, but we also need to encourage people that if you suspect someone that is in the terror cell or like searching online for ISIS blah 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 and Roblox situation, I think many people need to, I'm not saying jump in to help, but if you suspect some things of and some behavior or self-awareness not showing up, you need to give the location on the suspect. I'm not saying it's crazy, but it's really happened. It happens, and it really some things. I think I have no idea how they get a key set of password to the dark web. But I do know they have ways to go into tunnel or go into a firewall, and then they dig across the dark web, and someone must have like taken down the domain. But honestly, the domain is still active in the dark web. Like someone has been teaching ridiculous crazy nonsense through the terror group. And it's not just mainly I'm saying this crazy stunt, but if dark web is not well hidden and easy to access, kids can be changed in their mindset. And it's not just crazy, it's already happening, and I think it's high chance you need to figure out how to deal with it. So, like I said, early intervention is better, but if only cases like the person have a so-called already went to the darkened way of a path that was given, I think it's better to report in to the ISD department. I'm not saying turn around your kids or betraying the safe net, but first thing first, you need to realize we cannot continue the ISIS. We cannot continue them, let them continue all the situation that was happening over the years. We cannot going back to the baseline, and many years ago what had happened already happened, and we cannot have this situation again. We really need to step up, we need to intervene, and early intervention could be better, but I also suspect dark web need to be monitored 24/7. I cannot say this enough, but there is people in the terror group running dark web, and it's not insane, it's not just crazy, but already had this incident where ISIS is running the dark web, and roaming the dark web can lead to Roblox inflation of a terror group and everything that is interventing this situation. I think it's a high chance I'm not saying ISD need to step up on the game, but FBI need to step up on the game to shut those terror group down. And those terror is not just going to stop unless someone actually put a blockage. And really, I'm just an educator. I just wanna teach people not to do something like this, and never, never, never try to harm another human. I personally don't disturb the public, but this is more of an issue that uh, had happened. And I don't think it's not just crazy. The resource amount of resource that we have, it's really something that I think we need to have a long ass talk to the kids. We need to have them sit down and talk about this as an adult, because this is not just crazy. The moment that kid reach 18 years old is a adulthood, he will be hand over to the prison as a so-called attempting terror attack or terror ideology, whichever you wanna put up. But I honestly would say you need to figure out, because the moment he turn 18, he is legal as an adult and he will be charged. And it's not just crazy, it's situation like this we need to like tell the kids not to do this kind of thing, and we need to shut those down, and how we can prevent it, and we don't need to going back all the way back to what we encounter. And if this thing happen again, I am very sorry to say this, but it's best for intervention to come in faster. And this is the helpline that you guys can record down and make sure that you guys can shut those people down. We do have resource, we do have like counselors, we do have things that we cannot continue. 2015, 2017, and then now back in 2025 we got this situation on Roblox where terrorists comes and goes. And now we have dark web that literally roam around about terrorism. And a lot of this is not just crazy. They take months and many years to counterburst attack with this situation. And they do have like an online community platform on Roblox. I'm not saying it's crazy, but there is report from parts of US counter-terrorist group GIGN. The mentions are very big and brutal, and what the 14 years old kid was crazy. And no doubt the news just hype up everything, but I want to share some clips that is gonna be very disturbing. And please be advised, I'm not trying to saying that I need to escalate this case, but ISD is cracking down on anybody that have this terror cells group. So yeah. I need to figure out how I can get another website up. This was given over the news. I cannot give information, but I was given this video from the news site.
Terrorism attacks and executions on gaming platforms like Roblox has been dealt with under the country's Internal Security Act. Authorities say he was self-radicalized by extremist ideology online after consuming large volumes of pro-Islamic State material. The boy has been issued a restriction order limiting his movement and internet access. Sherlyn Sia reports, and a warning that the following images may be distressing for some viewers.
Executions of prisoners by shooting, hanging, and beheading. These are simulations created by a Singaporean teenager role-playing as an ISIS fighter on gaming platforms Roblox and Gorebox. More than just games, they tell a darker story of a boy who was self-radicalized by extremist ideology online. ISD says the youth's radicalization began in early 2023 when he was just 12 years old. He came across a video of ISIS fighting American forces in Iraq and started to view ISIS.
Here comes the truth about this. He was 12 years old and he was back in 2023. ISIS was fighting armed force of let's put it this way. US actually sent a group of soldiers inside the compound where ISIS is, and they attacked the ISIS. Back in 2023, when the video was given out to the public, it somehow landed into his hand as a 12 years old, and his parent can do better.
As so-called defenders of civilians. As he searched for more content online, social media algorithms fed him more extremist material. He found a pro-ISIS website and spent up to 9 hours a day consuming such content. By late 2023, he became a staunch supporter of its goal of establishing a global Islamic caliphate through violence and pledged allegiance to ISIS in June 2024. ISD says he also created multiple social media accounts to promote ISIS and encourage armed violence.
What is alarming is it's not just the age, but how radicalization now begins and how quickly it happens online. They are victim of their own biology because their brain has not fully developed. They are also victim of the social media, the confusion, and also might be personal desire to belong and to be a hero, to be accepted. And sadly, the narrative of those radicals provide that.
While the youth felt that he was too young to physically take up arms, he aspired to travel in about 10 years' time to Syria, Afghanistan, Africa, Iraq, or Bali to fight for ISIS and die a martyr. To prepare, he carried out daily battle simulations at home for up to 2 hours. He used a toy rifle and role-played attacks on forces he viewed as ISIS's enemies. ISD says exposure to extremist content also worsened the teens' unease towards the LGBTQ community. He had thoughts of participating in an attack in Singapore if initiated by others, although these ideas were not developed further. The youth also expressed support for other extremist groups like Al-Qaeda and Hamas and drafted a mock-up of a nightclub attack in Bali after learning about the 2002 bombings. ISD says he was aware his activities were unlawful and took steps to conceal them. While some family members and schoolmates tried to dissuade him, none reported him to the authorities. ISD says this is the third 14-year-old to be dealt with under the ISA in the past 2 years. The department also highlighted growing concerns about youth radicalization at younger ages.
Family, school, communities must step in early when they see warning signs. And I think there are warning signs that we can definitely observe. For instance, they start to share radical content, to have a black and white perspective. These are things that society can, spot early.
ISD is urging the public to seek help early if they suspect someone may be radicalized.
So given as a video that this guy actually went through the trouble of going through the so-called simulation of war and terror, he actually looked at a video at a 12 years old age. I know 12 years old, they had this crazy mindset like, oh yeah, this couple of people look like heroic attacking people, but no, hell nah, none of this. If you went back to the US archive about 2023, they did land in a compound for ISIS to actually attack or prevent something. I'm not sure what was the case on, but it was something around the case that was landed inside the video. And they were filming about ISIS operation, how to dismantle ISIS bomb, how to dismantle ISIS idea through the video on the US archive. And I was looking at it somewhat in the simulation issue. This is not just a one-time deal. It's crazy that we have this situation happening again. And I think it's like high time that the US need to communicate with the school, tell the kids not to show this kind of violent situation, not to search this up. And we need to heighten security. We have multiple cases. We have 6 cases already from US county. We got many of those. And it's not just crazy, but I can tell you, if ISD blockage telling you you're under arrest and that's it, you're gone. And the future you want to travel down to any country, you'll be under the ISD watch list. I'm not saying this is a craziness, but it's a early intervention, if anything I want to say. But this is a way worse situation where he used a so-called ideology on the archive and he put it up as a hangman news. Like, public to the nuisance, this guy was crazy.
A 14-year-old Singaporean student who recreated terrorism attacks and executions on gaming platforms like Roblox has been dealt with under the country's Internal Security Act. Authorities say he was self-radicalized by extremist ideology online after consuming large volumes of pro-Islamic State material. The boy has been issued a restriction order limiting his movement and internet access. Sherlyn Seah reports. And a warning that the following images may be distressing for some viewers.
Executions of prisoners by shooting, hanging, and beheading. These are simulations created by a Singaporean teenager role-playing as an ISIS fighter on gaming platforms Roblox and Gorebox. More than just games, they tell a darker story of a boy who was self-radicalized by extremist ideology online. ISD says the youth's radicalization began in early 2023 when he was just 12 years old. He came across a video of ISIS fighting American forces in Iraq and started to view ISIS as so-called defenders of civilians. As he searched for more content online, social media algorithms fed him more extremist material. He found a pro-ISIS website and spent up to 9 hours a day consuming such content. By late 2023, he became a staunch supporter of its goal of establishing a global Islamic caliphate through violence and pledged allegiance to ISIS in June 2024. ISD says he also created multiple social media accounts to promote ISIS and encourage armed violence.
What is alarming is it's not just the age, but how radicalization now begins and how quickly it happens online. They are victim of their own biology because their brain has not fully developed. They are also victim of the social media, the confusion, and also might be personal desire to belong and to be a hero, to be accepted. And sadly, the narrative of those radicals provide that.
While the youth felt that he was too young to physically take up arms, he aspired to travel in about 10 years' time to Syria, Afghanistan, Africa, Iraq, or Bali to fight for ISIS and die a martyr. To prepare, he carried out daily battle simulations at home for up to 2 hours. He used a toy rifle and role-played attacks on forces he viewed as ISIS's enemies. ISD says exposure to extremist content also worsened the teens' unease towards the LGBTQ community. He had thoughts of participating in an attack in Singapore if initiated by others, although these ideas were not developed further. The youth also expressed support for other extremist groups like Al-Qaeda and Hamas and drafted a mock-up of a nightclub attack in Bali after learning about the 2002 bombings. ISD says he was aware his activities were unlawful and took steps to conceal them. While some family members and schoolmates tried to dissuade him, none reported him to the authorities. ISD says this is the third 14-year-old to be dealt with under the ISA in the past 2 years. The department also highlighted growing concerns about youth radicalization at younger ages.
Family, school, communities must step in early when they see warning signs. And I think there are warning signs that we can definitely observe. For instance, they start to share radical content, to have a black and white perspective. These are things that society can, spot early.
ISD is urging the public to seek help early if they suspect someone may be radicalized.
So like I said, if you guys have any of the following information, how to stop this situation is already been asking to the public and asking for help. And I honestly would say this is the main resource where some people may or may not hate. Someone actually did research on ISIS attacking by US, blah blah blah, that kind of search up. And that messed up result actually came from an archive from the US Army database. I was looking at it and I don't know whether I want to film it, but I honestly said it was kind of a operation joint task force to stop ISIS. That's one. And second is US dropped into ISIS compound to stop ISIS terror cell and stopping weapon from deployment. And second, I would suggest if anyone in the US want to come in to intervene and like have a lecture the kids so be it, but try to be patient with them because I don't know how radicalized on how the situation have encountered to violent, but I strongly suggest the public is to watch out whoever have this crazy mindset on terror. They want to do something to make terror group be more recognized. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I'm saying this is to prevent issue. So YouTube, don't take down my video. I'm just saying on my own encounter, this is a situation that we already been facing for a couple of years, and honestly US is the only one that have a kind of fight to attack the ISIS. But according to the archive, there is a Bible in the whoever is in the operational. Whoever is in the US Navy that is operating that case where ISIS was fighting, like mentioned in the video, they need to like come to Singapore, teach their student. Like the student here need to learn the truth about what is going on and stop the ISIS. We are really struggling, and we are dealing with this kind of torture shit. It's crazy, and it's not just crazy, it plain out. Like that kid was using Roblox as a hangman news execution, and he even searched out data on ISIS, Hamas, all these crazy ideology bunch of groups. And I'm not just saying it's insane, but it's a death sentence. I wouldn't want anyone on board a plane doing the 9/11 again. And I wouldn't want it to happen again. Even if my worst enemy, I wouldn't want them to step on board a plane and, end their life sudden. But this is definitely an issue where it's an US archive video, and you take it too serious and you put it out as a research and something happened. Who you gonna blame? You can't blame the US Army for this, but definitely they made a video out in the public somewhere, and they made a webcam where the police officer have the body cam. I think it's very sufficient enough to like advance training warfare, but I think it's crazy. And it's not just crazy, it literally alarms me. Like, he was looking at it as a training lesson. He took it as what was happened in Roblox many months ago, June of 2025, and he managed to recreate the whole simulation from ISIS attack. That is the worst ridiculous craziness. But now he also saying that he was showing signs of Hamas, he was trying to attack people, and he was trying to read archive on what was happening throughout the world. I don't know how he got a hand on the video, but I would love a US Army district. How the fuck are you guys distributing the video? someone must have leaked the video to the kid. I don't understand which school have this knowledge data center, but I do know that they have this body cam video footage on what was recorded inside the data, and it was listed as a issue, and it was licensed to the US government. He got a hand on the video on a blacklisted site. So I suggest you guys need to figure it out. I don't know what to tell you. I'm stunned. And it's not just crazy, but if that kid went out to the public on an 18 years old passport, he's done. He's not just blocked, he is gone. Gone. And it's not just crazy, I think it was like the 6 cases I ever heard of. But this one is much worse. A 14 years old was recreating this crazy compound on ISIS. And gather up all the information, everything. I think it took months and months and months before it happened, and it really happened. And ISD was able to early intervene. So something happened, we need to block. And it's not just crazy. I think ISD is doing their job rather than the freaking US. Thanks a lot US for showing a video to the kids. But now I would love a US general or US official. Would you like to comment on this situation where everybody is pinning on you right now? Anyway, so I'm out of here. I do hope US take this more serious, and we need to have a very strange talk about why children need to stop thinking terrorists is a good resource, and we need to stop them to be more worse rather than we are so-called recreating the purpose of study. We are recreating terror. And I don't want people to have a very bad atmosphere here saying that we are causing this issue when the US actually made the video. So we have no history or any of the platform that I checked. I think there is only one website that compile this situation. I only can go into looking at this situation as a maybe. It literally shows up. Military record research. This was literally on top of the website. God damn, that kid is crazy. This was literally found on the official website of the US government. And I'm not just saying this is an excuse, but this is really something I am very bothered. There's a PDF attachment to it. There is also like journal on ranking US government web, and this is directly from the Army University Press. Operating environment 2011. I think it's about 2011 or 2012. That was quite a while back. And ended as an Obama end state. So Obama was the one that coincidentally put up this, and there was a PDF formation here. I don't know, I'm just gonna try to download it. It's not letting me download the PDF, but it's under the government official website of the US Army. This was literally found. This was in the archive a while back, and he managed to find video, but I don't see no video attached to the archive. But this was given by the journalist that was there. This is the after issue. Other than that, I think it was a while back. The history was given to the Army University Press anyway. So yeah, I strangely had this ideology, but here's another archive from President Trump back in I think back a while back when his first administration was intent. And this was under the PDF Islamic State Department of Soldiers. US Naval War, April 2021. It's not just crazy, but we have real documentation of archive here. This was the expedition in the US Army. This was given by what? This was not even inside any of the news outlet. This was literally given by the US government web page itself. By any chance this documented is like so-called craziness? It says under in administrator of the ISIS 2025-2015. This was literally not even signed by any of the official US government or any of the US soldier signaturation, but it was literally programmed on extremists. I have no idea who made this file, but it literally bring me all the way to the US Navy website. Yeah, it's not just crazy, but they have whole documentation archived in the US web. And it's not just insane. By right, we do not have the resource unless Trump at least, very least, uplift the blockage. But we do have like community in the US, and we do have like choices to talk about this, but we had to intervene it because we need to stop people from doing this kind of stupid nonsense. And the moment I check out the US government website, it literally tells me like what weapon, who was listed in the PDF, and who was there. And it was literally telling me like what kind of bombshell they use. Like, goddamn, that kid is up to something, and I can tell you honestly, if I jump into Roblox, I guarantee that thing is down. That server name is down, but the person is already arrested, so yeah. It's not a case closed, but it's a real-time scenario, and it's crazy how he took the US archive. And he took it by incident, and he might have watched a counterfeit version on the government web, or maybe someone in the terror group made a video. There may be a counterfeit version where ISIS can blank so-called fake the news, but I was landed into the US website without restriction. It's directly on top of there. So yeah, someone want to tell me what's going on in the US? Why the hell does a 14 years old got a file that is listed so long time ago, 2021 PDF file format on ISIS? How? And I'm not saying that the US is in the wrong, but someone need to pay responsibility for this. And yes, I do play Call of Duty Mobile, I do play Call of Duty, I play Battlefield 6, none of these one game I would say promote violence, but according to what I found on the document is crazy. So thanks to the US. So I'm out of here. I do have the documentation downloaded just in case I need to go through it again. I need to see what's going on. And that is a report file that was given from the war cabinet themselves. I think Trump just blew it this time. He literally put the US file inside a document and was uploaded by accident to the US Navy. Whoops.